Okay, folks. Just going to keep an eye on folks coming in. Apologies for being a few minutes late. I'm just going to look for as folks come in. Once again, please validate if I'm coming in clearly. Great. Couple seconds to see how it all comes in. Here, let's take a look. Shit. Crap. Hang on. Just going to quickly reset that. Oh, crap. Hang on. Shoot. Crap. Hang on. I gotta pop up the chat. Okay. Yeah, looks like people are saying it's coming through clearly. Just popped out that a little bit. Let me just quickly revise that. All right. I don't know why it's not refreshing cleanly. That's not a good sign. Please refresh. God damn it. Properties. Because I can't see what's going on in the chat now. Interact. Ugh, crap. Hang on. I'm going to try to quickly delete this and come back. Hang on. Why is it not letting me... Shit. Hold on. Let's see what can happen here. Hang on. Should work. Oh, for the love of God. Okay, hang on. Yep, it's me. Time to sign in. Yes, it's me. There we go. Yeah, continue. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. Should be live now. Oh, for the love of God, go away. I don't want to do this. I just want my chat. It should not be difficult. Oh, gosh. There we go. All right. Doesn't look like many people have shown up yet, so. All right. You know what? Let's just hit the intro. All right. Okay. All right. We are now on for everything. Looks like folks are coming in. Looks like my sound is coming through clearly. From what y'all, please confirm one way or the other if something is off. That'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, chat's starting to fill up. It's nice. All right. Apologies for being a little bit late. I had some minor issues making sure that the chat was coming through cleanly, which was a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. How's everyone doing tonight? And you can all hear me fine. Excellent. Like hearing that. Yeah, I had a bit of I had some stuff going on ahead of time. My fiance and her sister were here. They were prepping to go to the Eras tour in Toronto, so I kind of threw a little bit of a party for them to get ready. So that extended a little long. I had food, and I also tried to get the lights all right and trying to actually just get some for them to get some of the photos off. That was pretty fun. All right, and folks saying the sound is good. That is reassuring. Hopefully, I don't get automatically tagged for swearing a little bit in the opening. I hope not. That'd be very annoying. All right. Okay, plans to go see the new Wicked movie. I've thought about it. I've got a lot of thoughts on Wicked that would probably be better off served if someone requests me to cover the movie, but again, we'll see what happens. It'd be interesting covering Wicked because again, I think that's one of those. I think it's one of those musicals that tends to get a lot of acclaim in certain spaces, or at least it's so widely known that you got to be very careful with what you say and how you say around it. With Wicked, though, I think there's also a lot. I think the flaws with Wicked are kind of obvious. And I think that it would be most interesting to discuss Wicked in the context of, okay, this is what they did different from the stage show. Because there's elements that don't work in the stage show, and then there's elements that don't work when you actually see it in the movie. So I'm curious how it all comes out. All right. Yeah, tailgate party at Mark's house. It wasn't really a tailgate. Like it's also I also don't have a house. It's a condo. Yeah, I couldn't afford a house in Toronto. You nuts? I wish I could. All right. And yeah, I Get Wet by Andrew WK is indeed a great album. Um, Tends not to get the shine that it deserves, at least among certain fans. It's had a bit of a popular revival as of recently, but again, you always want to be certain of where that comes from. All right. Okay, I'm just going to turn my lights up a little bit, add a little bit more exposure. That's a little better. Let's go see if we go. Okay, there we go. That's a little nicer. All right. Yeah, music is indeed a good thing. I remember not loving I Get Wet. Want to revisit eventually. Yeah, the thing with that one is that you kind of have to expect. You go into that project expecting like a Lil Jon album, where it's not deep, it's not trying to be, it is entirely about overcompressed, incredibly basic melodies just pummeling you in the head. On that basis, it's extremely effective. I can't deny that at all. All right, just gonna pour some stuff here. Hang on. You have to excuse me. I'm going to probably wind up having a few drinks and also trying to enjoy half of a dinner because I didn't really have much of a dinner in order to get prepped for this. Yeah, there, refocus. Nice. All right. Probably have a few minutes before I will click onto the music. We got a bit of an interesting episode tonight. From what I can tell, not a ton of jazz, so sorry to disappoint some of you in advance. We actually do have some metal this week. That's going to be interesting. Mm, no, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Cacophony, but they're like we're not gonna. I want the jazz as much as anybody, but we'll see what we can do. There is some. There's just not much of it. Yeah. So again, it's gonna be an interest. I think it's gonna be an interesting, probably not super low key. I think there's a lot of pop from what I can tell is on this current rollout, which could be fun, but we'll see where it goes. The Long Island Sound versus We Can't Make It Here. Oh, they're all I like both songs. They're both great songs. I probably would say Long Island Sound, but that's more personal to me in 2015 when I was really engaging with Jason McMurtry. He didn't perform it when I saw him live though, and he did perform "We Can't Make It Here," and which is a phenomenal song. The year Cardi B pushed her album back to 2025. I didn't, but I have no expectation that Cardi B is ever releasing that second album. Like, if it happens, I'd be thrilled to see it, but I don't expect it'll ever come because, like, let's be honest, Cardi has no incentive to put out another album, especially given the expectations that have been built up over time. Gotta be honest, the time to have released that album was 2021 after WAP already went to number one and Up had already gone to, I think, number two. Like, when you have two singles that have performed as well as those have, that would have been the time to push it. And the fact that Atlantic didn't really move on that, it's telling, I will say the least. All right, maybe the newest Wombat song. It's been a while since I've heard a Wombat song that is so much fun. You know what? Again, I set this in my Discord. By the way, if you all want to get access to my Discord, YouTube memberships are an option, as is Patreon. Although Patreon is going to get rejiggered within the next year. I will say that at the top level of my YouTube memberships, you have access to my Discord. I was saying this there. Um, the Wombats, I'm excited for new Wombats and new Franz Ferdinand to start off the year. I'm also excited for new FL Kane to start off 2025. I think we could really use some of that vibe a little bit. So, again, very promising stuff coming up. We'll have to see where it all turns out. Cardi's made all her singles all feel like events to some extent simply by not releasing much beyond them. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Like, but at the same time, if you built so much of your run up with the lead singles, any conversation about the album is inevitably going to get frustrating to some extent because I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, when is the album actually coming? I think she had 4 or 5 singles from Invasion of Privacy, ultimately at the very end of it. Yes, new Ethel Kane is coming next year, early next year too. I believe the album is called Perverts, and she's already released the lead-off single, which I'm excited about. Lana Del Rey is literally dropping on New Year's Day. I wouldn't be surprised if she does, although she's probably going to be I'm not sure how I'm going to say about it. We'll see with Lana Del Rey. I have my you all know my history there. Would Shawn Mendes work best in a Selena Gomez vein, where when he fits within production rather be asked to control it? Probably, but male singer-songwriters are not often given that luxury. A lot of women in pop, in terms of pop divas, they're allowed to slot into production and ride them. Like think Selena Gomez, think Britney Spears, think Kylie Minogue. They're not required to command the mix in the same way. I would struggle to say that there's a lot of male singer-songwriters that have that flexibility. There's not many of them. I'm trying to think who would otherwise fit in that category. No names are really coming to mind. All right. Yeah, songs are going to be lengthy. With Ethel Kane, absolutely. Which, again, that's part of the appeal. I entirely expect she's going to push back on anything close to American Teenager, which kind of sucks because American Teenager is phenomenal. But she's probably going to make a less commercial album, which I'm kind of in favor of. If we get another like Ptolemaea or Sun Bleach Flies, I'm all the way there. Listen to any Camp Flog Gnaw performances? Not really. I don't listen to festival performances that I'm not at. It's rare that I would seek out a concert performance because again, like I would rather be there and experience that visceral action in person. It's kind of one reason I don't go to live albums that often. It's very rare that a live album is so compelling or so intricate that it does something above and beyond what you hear on the record itself. Yeah, Opeth tomorrow. That's going to be interesting. I keep hearing stuff that's saying that's going back to their metal side after a decade of making prog. I'm not against that, but again, with Opeth, it's like the 2010s. Opeth has been so hit or miss. I'm not sure what to expect when it comes to this upcoming album. I'm hoping it's good. I'm more excited for the new Father John Misty. Not gonna lie. Hmm. Country Lana Del Rey. It's going to be good. You know what? The issue with Country Lana Del Rey is I have the comparisons of every other woman in country who does that throwback style that she does and who are better songwriters. And if you're an indie country at all, you've got a plethora of those acts. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, sure, Lana Del Rey is going to sound pretty nice and she's a good songwriter, but is she going to be better than Emily Scott Robinson or Caitlin Smith or Juliet McConkie? Again, I've got a list that I could pull on very, very quickly in terms of singer-songwriters who often have as good of vocals as she does, but are better writers or have a better command of their arrangements. And partially my issue with Lana Del Rey these days is I think her music is getting a little bit more ragged around the edges. Mike the Snare compared it to going into her Sun Kill Moon era, which I can very much hear, but may not be the best fit for her strengths. That's all I'm going to say there. As much as I love Kintsugi and stuff that's a little bit more rambling, I feel like that could really backfire on her in a hurry. All right. Not exactly like their old stuff, but heavier than the prog decade too. That's good. Again, I like Opeth. Like, again, that run around the late '90s, early 2000s was really impressive. I'm hoping we get something close, but again, I also have very muted expectations. I heard their 2010 stuff. Okay. Heard Taylor Swift might be on Kendrick Lamar's next album. I'm shocked that's surprising to any of you. For one, okay, let's go back and actually recount some things because I feel like this is something that should be corrected and I might be in a good situation to do it. Um, Kendrick Lamar went back and re-recorded his vocals for Bad Blood for the 1989 re-release. That does not happen lightly. I expect when Reputation gets re-released, I don't think Future is probably going to re-record his. But Kendrick going back in to do his and being photographed in the studio, that says something. The two of them have a relationship of some kind. When you also consider that 616 in LA is produced by Jack Antonoff. Like that was always the biggest trump card that if Drake decided to keep it rap/popularity, Kendrick could play, okay, you want to play the Swifty card? Here, I will play the Swifty card, lean into it, and kick your ass that way. Now, obviously, Drake wound up getting personal, and then you got Meet the Grams and Not Like Us coming out of it. So there was multiple pathways in terms of that way that beat was going, but there was always a Taylor feature in reserve in some kind. So to hear them that they've got a song together, at least my question would be at least one. The way the two of them write, we probably have two or three. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised people didn't know that because again, you got to follow how. Again, I also realize that a lot of people do not know how to discuss rap beat competently, and again, I think a lot of people would be surprised to realize that Taylor and Kendrick have a really good relationship, and I think they do. Probably not like a friends relationship, but very much of a. They collaborated in 2015 together, and he came back to re-record his vocals at his cost. That says something. Bad Blood 2 is coming. God, I hope not. Because Kendrick could really do better than. Well, the issue here's the thing. The re-recording of Bad Blood is bad, but that's partially because Bad Blood is bad. But also Kendrick sounds better in that re-recording than he did on the original. Uh yeah. Thoughts on Heavy Dirty Soul and Doubt by 21 Pilots? I don't know why. Heavy Dirty Soul is great. Doubt is not one I go back to. I go back to Polarize. I go back to Not Today, Goner. I got a list of songs I go back to. Excuse me, from that album, and Doubt is not one of them. I actually think Doubt is one of the weaker songs on Blurry Face. Uh, Yeah, Still Life is actually my favorite of Opeth's albums. I actually have it on vinyl, which is I wasn't the original pressing because those are just fiendishly expensive. I'd never be able to get that, but I got one of the represses, and it actually plays really well. I played it on my player. I want to say about a week and a half ago. It sounds phenomenal. Um, Best 21 Pilot song. You don't want to hear my answer to that. You just don't. Trust me. Grab any of your favorite 2000 songs off the top of my head. I don't, because my 2000 songs are kind of sprawling, and I would need to go like I struggle to keep all my 2010 songs in place. There's a reason I didn't do a best songs of the 2010s list because it's hard to because songs ebb and shift with time. And I find like an album just by the virtue of having more content winds up a little bit more settled in my perception. When it comes to songs individually, they shift so quickly based upon trends and sounds and how one evolves with it that it can be tougher to put in a specific ranking per se. I will say that a 2000s list. I would have a better job with 2000s list of hits than I would in terms of a 2000 list of songs overall. If I ever went back to do that, and quite frankly, I do not have the time. It is not Saturday. It's worse than Saturday. All right. What else here? What's your thoughts on Let the Party Die? Let the Party Die. I kind of agree with a couple of quotes I've heard around Let the Party Die. I think it's a really good song. I think it's meditative. I think it does kind of what you would expect from Kendrick in terms of this is what I had to do. Now let's look at the bigger picture. The problem is that he didn't push it as an actual song, and I kind of wish he had. I think he recognized that it wasn't going to be very commercial, and it's not. For me, as that style of rap fan, I really like it. I like it's not saying anything new from Kendrick, but it's the sort of thing that I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing. You've clearly had a call with Vince, and like Vince is saying all the same sort of things that Vince put it on record in Dark Times. Let the Party Die, though, is not a song I'm going to go back to very often. I don't think it's got great replay value. I don't think it's especially pithy or focused. It's a good message song, but once I got the message, I didn't really, it doesn't have a ton of replay value for me. All right, what else is here? How come Me Too by Megan Trainor didn't make your worst hit songs of 2010s list? Uh, I'll be honest, Megan Trainor did worse. Me Too is bad, but it's bad in honestly a very boring way. Like it's a sort of like okay, like it's obnoxious, but it's not obnoxious in a way I find toxic. Like a truly toxic brand of obnoxious is Treat You Better. It's Dear Future Husband, in my opinion. Like it feels like that's a much more cloying and skin crawling brand of obnoxious. Me Too is just very much in your face and like brash and arrogant, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Like I don't like it. I will never seek it out. I think the production sounds really canned, but like it's not worth getting angry about. And that's kind of the thing. I'm working on putting together my worst hit songs of 2024. And I think folks are going to be surprised how a lot of people are saying this has been a great year for pop music, and I don't agree. I think there's a lot of bad songs that came out this year. I think it's a lot more even keeled than some people will argue. And I think a lot of that comes in that there was a lot of bad songs this year. Mm, yeah. I agree with you, Cacophony. It's kind of bad and it's bad, but it's kind of harmless. When you recognize that there's certain songs that can cause tangible, like ugly impacts, those kind of have a deeper resonance for me. And I know some people are gonna put it off as it all being just music. Well, I'm just gonna say Carnival is making my worst of list in 2024. Shocker. And I will have more to say then. Yeah, Benson Boone did get hell of annoying, although like Benson Boone is kind of been in a weird place for me. I don't like those songs at all, but I think he's also in the situation where I kind of have to treat him like a reality show artist. And on some level, there's a limit to how angry you can get about reality show artists. Why didn't Search and Rescue make your worst hits last year? Too forgettable. Again, I am on a different state with Todd. Like Todd's very much the bad is the absence of good. For me, bad has to be bad in its own right. I think it opens up a more subjective portrayal, but I also think there's a deeper emotional resonance there with the bad being that's truly reprehensible that pisses me off. It also allows for a little bit more fluidity, which I think is a good thing. All right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to say 2024 is a really strong year. I think my issue with 2024 is that a lot of people are focusing on stuff that didn't chart as highly as they think it did. Like, I know a lot of folks are going to focus on the best songs from Brat, but I'm like, my favorite songs from Brat did not chart that high. You're going to be surprised how little of Chapel Roan's material hits the year end list. It's going to break some people's hearts. It's going to be real sad. I got to be honest. Um, Granted, a lot of stuff that people hated in 2024, I kind of wound up really liking. Like, there's going to be multiple songs from a Torture Poets department that I love, but I also know the majority of folks will not like. And one or two of them are going to make my best list. Fortnite probably won't. We will have to see. All right. Don't really use the Billboard year end. Here's the other thing. I don't know what's up with Billboard right now because they've been kind of slow walking where they're going to place their Billboard Music Awards. I'm trying to keep an eye on where and how that's all being announced, and it seems like they've been slow to announce it. It seems like they're trying to do a correction behind the scenes to get the year corresponding a little closer with the old calendar year because they recognize through all the coverage that something was very, very wrong. A lot of music critics have done that too, as they've specifically identified. Wait, SZA's SOS has wound up topping way too many lists for 2023, and that shouldn't happen. So they've kind of you can tell they've started adjusting a little bit. So it's going to be interesting what's going to be categorized within 2024 for year-end list in general. I already know that Uprocks, in terms of their own critic list, have pushed things back. I'm not going to get my ballot for that until early December, I think. So we'll see where it all falls out. Amazing year for music, but the charts have become stagnated. Let's be honest, the charts have been like, I don't know if I agree. Like I think the top 10 got real stagnant. I think everything else around it kind of had some degree of fluctuation. Some of that was courtesy of album bombs moving in and moving out. But that's kind of the issue that I highlighted way back in 2018 when it comes with an album bomb centric chart. The songs that wind up getting radio play stick around through all of that, and you're basically crossing your fingers that something good from an album bomb is going to persist. And that rarely ever happens. So again, you wind up with a lot of radio drudgery, which isn't very good if you don't get good stuff that's winding up getting pushed on the radio. Quite frankly, I'm stunned that Not Like Us got as much of a push on the radio as it did. Also, hot take, Not Like Us is not making either of my list. And I'm not as hot on that as a lot of people are, especially in a year where Euphoria is right there. Thoughts on John Bellion being free of his label? I want to hear what happened behind the scenes with John Bellion. Something's off there. Um, the fact that he was able to get so many behind the scenes co-writes, but was not able to put out more than 2 records in the 2010s, that speaks to a burned relationship or something's gone off there. That honestly kind of makes me sad because again, like he wrote some good songs, and honestly, he's kind of been the better part behind a lot of pretty bad artists. Will Euphoria wind up qualifying for year-end list? I think it will. According to, let me put it like this: it will likely be on the bottom half of the Billboard year-end list, if depending on how they count things. I know for a fact it's going to make the list I'm using, and that means yes, Euphoria is making my best list. Obviously, I think I can wrap the majority of Euphoria in my sleep. His superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is now paranoid, now spiraling. Mm, yeah. Euphoria's in the 60s, so yeah, pretty safe. Yeah. Will Hiss be higher than Euphoria? Ooh, I'm not spoiling that one because I don't know if I'm not sure Hiss makes it. It might be close because Hiss started off really, really high and then crashed off pretty quickly. So we'll have to see where Hiss ultimately winds up. Yeah, Hiss isn't making the year end. It's going to be interesting if it makes my year end list, the one I pull from. So fingers crossed there because Hiss is really good, but I think Hiss is more impactful than having a charting. Like it's more impactful in terms of what it did in the industry and ecosystem and culture at large than its chart performance, which is kind of a shame because Hiss is a really good song. We got another rapping Mark moment, like on the Compton review. Yeah, you know what? Like, I know enough rap that I probably could, but at the same time, that needs to be something special. Yeah, and I'm not gonna like. Again, I am the wrong person to be rapping anything from Euphoria. I. Oh, all right. You know what? Fun story before we kick things off. I remember going to karaoke um, a day after Euphoria was released. It was a Wednesday night. I went to karaoke and someone chose to do a Drake song, and it wasn't push-ups. It was a Drake song, and the DJ started heckling like, "Oh, you like Drake? You like Drake? What about Euphoria?" And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Oh wait, he didn't get shouted down or heckled because of that. Oh, Drake's presence in Toronto has kind of turned in a way." And if you check the Spotify charts, that would be evident in terms of where Drake's presence was. But at that moment when you're actually on the streets and you hear someone and you hear a DJ call out that Drake wasn't winning that beef, even before Meet the Grams and Not Like Us even happened, that felt very revealing to me. Yeah, Euphoria is such a good song. Like again, and not gonna lie, part of my love of Euphoria is watching a lot of people react to Euphoria. Like, which is kind of weird because it's one of those moments where I'm like, I appreciate reaction content in that moment more because I'm like, oh, we get that added little bit of catharsis being able to sink into it together. And it kind of was something that Kendrick played well into because watching everybody with that horrified expression midway through Meet the Grams, that was an evening I don't think anyone is ever going to forget. Hmm. Elite, I appreciate that one. That's funny. Yeah, I'll be honest, Meet the Grams is cool on me too. I think a lot of people are going to say it's the best song of the year. I'm like, no, not really. I think the final verse of Meet the Grams is indeed special, but I don't go back to it the same way. I go back to 616 in LA. I go back to Euphoria a lot, but Meet the Grams, I think the lack of any confirmation on the third verse kind of killed it a little bit for me. Like it was effective for what it was trying to do, and I think the fourth verse is special, but outside like it would be a question whether or not that makes my best songs of any year list. It might be close, like I can see it being on the very edge, but we'll have to see. Meet the Grams is a song you return to. The funny thing is I actually did because like I like long 6 minute contemplative vindictive songs, especially with that sort of energy to them. And that one I do go back to. I go back to Meet the Grams more than I go back to Not Like Us. I mean, shocker from me, but like I think the final verse of Meet the Grams is again one of the best verses of this year. Hmm. Rated 17 on all-time singles beat on Rate Your Music. Yeah, I would put a little stock in that though. With Rate Your Music, there's so many people who are so pissed off with Drake that they were looking to find any reason to get him the hell out. And I'm not sure it's the greatest evaluation on where he is culturally, although I think it is a signpost when it came to music fandom. Although I would also say some of that was relevant coming with views. I'd be curious where the story of Adidon is when it comes to overall arching singles. Because that because quite frankly, it is a better song than Meet the Grams is. Like at least holistically. Yeah, Rate Your Music is goofy. I agree. The dear baby girl. You see, the thing is, Tom, I actually disagree with you. I think that third verse, I don't need that third verse at all outside of the last few lines from Kendrick. He's a hit maker, like a hit maker, songwriter, superstar, right? And a fucking dead beat that'll never say more life. Meet the Grams. Like that end of it was what really clinched it for me because he just has that energy shift, that venom he brings to the forefront. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I wish 616 in LA was on streaming platforms as well. I believe it has to do with the Al Green sample that they couldn't get cleared. I heard that Al Green's estate can be very tricky when it comes to clearing samples in that vein, which I don't blame him when it comes to a rap beef. Like, how often would you get a sample cleared in a rap beef? Yeah. Okay, one more thing. I'll answer this from you, Aquila, before we end. What advice would you give to anyone on the autism spectrum for people like myself to understand more? If you feel comfortable answering this, sure. This is going to be a bit of a weird bit of advice. And I will say this: find a routine and stick to it. And when I say routine, I mean something that is both intellectual and physical. And what do I mean by that? I mean that for me, a lot of my life is very structured. I have time in which I do things and where I am able to function very well in certain environments. I can flip things up on the fly. I can kind of roll with punches, but I like to have a little bit of planning in order to have everything going. The more you structure your life, the more often you will be able to be effective in your life. At least for someone who is on the spectrum, to be able to balance out the stuff that you can't control. I also say this as someone who is in that space. Involve yourself in a physical activity. Get stronger. And I do this, and part of this for me is that it's a rigor. It is something that will it's not going to be natural to you. It's never natural, but it also allows you to develop a certain amount of muscle coordination that I feel can be lacking. It was lacking for me for decades. But now that I have it, it's something that allows me to have better control of where I am in space and my environment, which is incredibly valuable. I would also say that it allows you to build another kind of routine, and it also will allow you to see tangible results. And what do I mean by that? I say that I know how much I can curl, for instance. I know how much I can bench press. I know how much I can do squats on or deadlifts. When you see a tangible results of a process, it is a biological function that proceeds from one layer to the other. You have that added little bit of structure and continuity that can be very effective in driving towards a goal. Plus, it's also a social acumen that makes your life better. And you'll feel better afterwards. When I work out, I sleep better. I eat better. I feel better about my body. And I think that's a naturally good thing than trying to get absorbed in other spaces that don't always contribute to that. It's advice I will give to anyone who is on the spectrum. It is the sort of thing that it's not going to be easy. It will be awkward. You will feel awkward. It's not always the best thing to do, but gym activities, those sort of things, I find them incredibly valuable. Mm. All righty. The strengthening stuff, sometimes I've been keeping a kettlebell by my bed. I use once in a while. It's been so satisfying. Yeah, it is. Like the fact that I can, I'll give you an example. One thing that I do at the bench, I do bench press. I'm benching comfortably sets of 225 pounds, uh, 4 sets of normally around 8. That's now comfortable for me. I can go up to like 265 if I want. But when my trainer told me that 225 is combine weight, to give you some context, that's the weight they do at the NFL combine in order to test like how much like your physical attributes in order to like the test for linebackers and quarterbacks and stuff like that. And the fact that I was able to do that at combine weight, I'm like, oh, this is where I am in context with everyone else. And it paradoxically is like it's a bit of a personal acumen of, oh, this is what I can do, but this is also what everyone else does. And you feel yourself in continuity with everyone else. And I think when you're on the spectrum and you can feel somewhat isolated, having that pure physical continuity independent of where your mind is can be tremendously valuable. All right. You know what? That was a good motivational talk. I feel like we should listen to some music. We've gone a little bit long, but that's okay. Tonight I can afford to go a little bit long because, again, my fiance and her sister are at the Eras Tour, and that means I have time. All right. Let's hop over here. Okay, let's close that for now. I'm going to hop over to interact in my browser. Here we go. Let's go to Bandcamp Daily. I haven't dropped that many frames. I haven't dropped a decent number of frames. I don't care for that. All right. Let's start off with our albums of the day. We don't have that many to go through. Let's start off with this one from Julian Mayorga. This is the album Choc 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 Choc. Okay, this is he's a Colombian musician. I'm not really familiar with this. Let me just pull up the name of the song here. Hold on a moment. Okay, the name of the song is "Oh Dear God." That's all in Spanish. So it's a blend of surrealist poetry, borderless cumbia, and sinister-sounding experimental music. Oh boy. Okay, the song is called "No te comas le blaquísimas mofetas." I will try pronouncing that later. Apparently, this guy's originally rooted in Spain, so this is in Spanish. Let's see what we got here. And this is from the album Choc 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 by Julian Mayorga. That's a nice bass line.
Tenemos hambre y dolor, ¿y dónde están los ingenieros? Que sube la pirámide, oh rataferos. Portas un magnífico apellido. Cómete a los ricos que son pocos y blanquitos, pijos lindos, señoritos, magos, santos del pillaje, entusiastas del gatillo, veterano del escape, sanguijuela, fervorosos, prestamistas, carroñeros, codiciosos, hijuepuercas y triple hijueputas. Y hay uno que otro tontín.
Oh, I like this more than I should. Okay, that was No te comas la blanquísimas mofetas from Julian Mayorga from the album Check 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 Check. Um, I really liked that. That was really fun. Um, I love how well the horns blended in alongside that thicker, like sinuous, like coursing swagger of the groove. I didn't love the vocals. The vocals felt a little bit wispy for me. They felt like they didn't have enough power to really command it. And again, lacking the lyrical translation, I wasn't sure where I was going to go with that. But at the same time, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. The changes felt well. I felt like whatever, if I spoke Spanish, I would appreciate the punchlines a little bit better, but that was effective for what it was trying to do. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was great. That was really, really nice. Um, again, hard to recommend the album. Because again, I don't like, they're described as being kind of similar to, like, if I'm going to pull this up here, hang on, browser interact. Yep. It's a little bit like comparing this to like The Residents. Like, I kind of get that. It's a little bit weird. Like, apparently the dissonant march with a hidden, for those who don't see Spanish message, eat the rich. I did not get that message, but okay, that is intriguing to say the least. I kind of want to hear the rest of the album because that was going off into interesting places. Yeah, again, like the alarm style of it didn't really throw me, but I could see that being very annoying to some people. All right, let's keep moving here. This is from Nizar Rohana. I believe this is okay. No, wait, this is something. This is world music. This is from Palestine. Okay. All right, I'll play this one. I don't believe this is one that I would otherwise have to skip. All right, the song is called Safa, the title track from this album from Nizar Rohana. I'm not sure. Apparently, it doesn't give me a lot of information in terms of what this is actually trying to do. So we could be going in a little bit cold here. All right, title track from the album from Nizar Rohana. Let's give it a listen. Guitar work is really nice. Apparently, it's not a guitar; it's an oud, from what I'm seeing in the description here. Very close to the front of the mix, though. Oh, okay. It's going to be interesting discussing this in a second because I got some thoughts on this. Yeah, the riff is not coming on this one. All right, that was Safa from the album of the same name from Nisa Rohana. Um, a couple things that I want to highlight here. First off, this is not a guitar; it's what you call an oud. I'm not familiar with the instrument that he's actually playing. I think maybe get a little bit of a clip of that in like the side picture over there. A couple of things that's interesting here is that this is improvised, which is genuinely impressive because it's a very distinctive improvisational form. Like, because normally you have improvisations that go off a little bit the beaten path and they feel a little bit more amateurish. That did not feel like that. That felt like there was very clearly a method to it. And when you discover how much, and this guy apparently, this is part of his PhD, that he was studying pre-composed elements in this improvisation. And I can kind of get that because you can certainly tell that there's certain segments that felt very, not calculated. Calculated is the wrong word, but it felt like it was very much he knew where he was going. And there was a flair to it that I really, really liked in terms of the rhythms and the thicker tones of that. Like, I was genuinely impressed by how well the playing came together, especially some of the little bit more of the cyclical progressions that he had. I don't know if I'd go back to it much, because again, I think I'm more enamored with the playing than any of the composition itself, but overall it was impressive. I'm not going to say it was bad by any means. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Neat stuff. All right, that right there is a compilation. So we're going to go with this one to, hang on. All right, here we go. Dawuna Naya. All right, he's from Baltimore. We got more experimental music here, so let me pull up what I can tell about this guy. All right, the song that we have coming up is Govinda P, the album Naya from Dawuna. I don't know what this is going to be in terms of the sound. I'm looking at the tags here. R&B, soul, avant-garde funk. Okay, this could be cool. So this is his second full-length album, and the song is, again, it's going to be called Govinda P. Let's give it a shot.
Sympathy's all then it goes through me. I don't know what emotion rain down on me.
Ooh.
Losing friends, feeling they just pass by you on a winding road. I know it's how it goes. Hold
It doesn't feel super experimental though. Like, it feels like this is like very traditional R&B, like dabbling a little in neo soul.
Do I have the best intentions? I wonder sometimes. I'm gonna go now before it's clear and wrong. To be cursed with an affliction of the mind. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord.
Maxwell's the right comparison there. I agree with you there.
The best I can. please pray for me. Poppy makes banana bread when I'm sick in bed. Mama, make bread for me. Please pray for me. Mama, look, you're scared instead. What's in my head?
All right, that was Govinda P from the album Naya by Dawuna. Again, this is one of those cases that I feel like I'm getting a little bit oversold by some of the tagging on the song. Like, this is being tagged as very experimental, but I heard basically that felt like a very conventional, maybe like a stripped back acoustic R&B song. Not bad for that. A little bit of a neo soul timbre to it as well. It was certainly pleasant. It was certainly likable, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that could have been a little bit more interesting. And I wasn't really compelled by any of the lyrics that I heard there either. It was just very restrained, very tasteful. Not especially compelling, though. Like, again, I've heard a lot of, when you hear a lot of stuff in that vein, you're looking for that add a little bit of flourish to like make it like jump off the page, and that didn't quite have it for me. Not bad by any means, certainly very listenable, but not really all that impressive. I wouldn't say it's gospel though. Like gospel, there's a deeper swell, there's a different timbre to how the vocals come through and how a lot of the presentation comes through. That's more R&B, I would say. All right, let's keep moving. Geez. Okay. Next up, it looks like, okay, it'd be kind of cheating just to play a cut from Food because, again, 20-year anniversary, rest in peace to MF Doom. I'm going to skip that because, again, it's otherwise like the sort of thing we could otherwise spend a lot of time on. Very easy. And we do have a pretty lengthy list ahead, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. All right. First off, we have, no wait, this one I'm skipping because this one is, this is from the 90s and it's a bit of a reissue from what I can tell. They're a 90s act with a reissued single, which is a little bit messy. Next up then, we have from Ihaxa, from an artist and a producer. This is a cosmic art rock project and they're giving it an epic send-off. I'm not averse to epic send-offs. The song is called Underworld. Let's give it a shot. Change the lights now. Hang on. This reminds me a lot of Aurora. My fiance would like this. That's a change up. That is very much a change up. Yeah, a little Alley X, I can hear that. I'm not saying it's bad though. Like, I feel like someone's missing a hook. There's a lot of build, but I'm not sure where it's going. Here's the funny thing. This is the album opener. Odd change. Okay. Oh, alrighty, so we're ending there. That was Underworld from Ihasa, album. This is the same album of the band's name. Mm, Not sure I was wowed by that. I feel like it was a lot of crescendo. Like there was some very decent atmosphere building, especially when you had that change up to something that was a little heavier, a little bit more rock inspired. But there wasn't really much of a hook to it. Like I feel like it was expecting there to actually hit it. Like you built a crescendo, but then it kind of ebbed back before it was actually going to get there, and kind of ending on that little bit of an acoustic note. I'm like, okay, it was fine, but I feel like it did a lot of setup for not a lot of payoff. And looking at the lyrics, I kind of agree. Like it's very much of I wandering down the underworld. I was sent here. I'm trying to find my way in terms of maybe not repentance for my sins, but trying to parse out this new space. And I don't know. It's not a bad idea, but I feel like you need a little bit more in order to flesh out what they were ultimately doing. So it was okay, but I feel like I should like that more. Yeah, didn't really wow me. I wanted that to wow me and didn't really get there. Okay, let's keep moving. Next up we have from Nefertiti Ivani, Misha, and Evil Needle. The project's called Odyssey. Apparently we get some R&B coming up, which is going to be cool. The song is called Lost, featuring, I need to look this up here, Cocabana. All right, so we got some R&B coming up. I'm not averse to that. Let's hear what we got. Oh, that's R&B, all right. A little Orlina Baraz, I can hear that. A little Shanae as well. But Alina Baraz is probably better because, like, I feel like Alina will do the vocal runs, Shanae won't. Sammy, I don't want to be mean. You might need to listen to more R&B. I hear some of the SZA, but like SZA is a rougher, more organic timbre than what this is. This is a little more polished. Although I do hear some of it with her vocal inflections. I hear a bit of Camila Cabello there as well, but like Camila never had this good production. I actually really like the production on this. Like those twinkles in the background are really nice. All right, that was from Nefertiti Giovanni, Misha and Evil Needle from the album Odyssey. The song is called Lost, featuring Cocabona. That was pleasant. I wouldn't say it was wowed by it because, again, like I feel like the hook kind of it settled into a very comfortable R&B lane. I recognize a lot of those tones that you would hear from. I heard Camila Cabello. I think Alina Baraz fits there as well. A little SZA, but like SZA at her very, very softest. And I wouldn't say that very often. Only a little bit in the vocal inflection. And for that brand of R&B, I feel like you need a little bit more. There's certainly a very specific 90s era that's calling back to, especially with some of the ripples of the chimes and some of the more live drums. It was pleasant, I'd say. Like, you put that on in like 96, maybe? 95 or 96, I think. And like, again, like it's what Summer Walker should sound like. I agree, just as that is very apt because, again, Summer Walker frustrates me. She's gotten better, and I will say that from Summer Walker, which is kind of, I didn't expect to ever say that about Summer Walker, but as soon as she got away with London on the Track, I think she's getting to better production, which is good for her. That was fine though. That was enjoyable. All right, let's keep going. We got some electronic music. We got a blend of post-rock, jazz, and bass. This is from Sia Dofi. The project is an EP. It's called the Ablutio. Ablutio? Maybe Ablutio. Ablutio EP. The song is called Dark Nebula. Okay, this can be fun. Let's give it a shot. Let's change the lights. Very pleasant guitars. There's some build there. I like that. The slight sandy touches around the mix are nice. not play guitar well enough to appreciate this. That was Dark Nebula from Siodofi from the Ablucio EP. That was nice. I liked the cyclical progressions of the guitars that felt really well mic'd. There was kind of a rounded quality to some of the tones there that I liked. I liked that fizzy little bit of percussion that fleshed things out, and there were certain flourishes there that I thought were pretty cool. I'm not sure it did a lot to really like the runtime. Again, once you kind of got the handle on what the melody was doing, I'm not sure it evolved tremendously out of that. I feel like it built moments of crescendo that it didn't really pay off. But that sort of post rock, I kind of feel like it's a component of a larger piece that would probably have more value in larger context. As it is here, it's okay, but yeah, I don't know about that one. Again, it was very easy to enjoy, but I'm not sure it's going to be super memorable. That's all. All right, let's keep moving. We got some metal coming up now. Okay. Yeah, change some of the chords to get a bit of super. I wouldn't say Super Smash, but nah, that wasn't really the vibe for that. I feel like that was more meditative. I'd say borderline new age at points. All right. Next one from Mammoth Grinder. Ooh boy. The album is called Undying Spectral Resonance. Okay, metal, I appreciate you going all out. That's nice. And we're dealing with the title track of this. We're going to get pretty heavy here. From what I understand, this is some hardcore death metal, a little bit of D-beat going on. Okay, I'm in for this. This could be fun. Let's give it a shot. Undying Spectral Resonance from Mammoth Grinder. Yeah, very vintage death metal too, though. Honestly, not as D-beat as I was expecting. Certainly is death metal. Yeah, Scott, I feel that. I'm not gonna complain. I'm never gonna complain about the style of death metal. I'd say closer to Doom vibes, but not really pronounced. It's a little too fast to be Doom. There's the solo. That was good for the solo, what it was. That was Undying Spectral Resonance from the album the same name from Mammoth Grinder. And it's hard for me to say a lot about this brand of death metal. Normally, death metal is not my thing. I've made that plenty clear, but that's the sort of thing that I'm like, that's harmless to me. I don't think it's particularly heavy. I feel like it was a little more polished than I prefer. I didn't think the riffs were all that chunky or had a lot more viscera behind it. But at the same time, like the solo was nice. It was certainly effective in terms of the melodic construction of it. It felt very classic early death metal, not something that would ever get released nowadays or anything out of the 2000s. It felt very late 80s, early 90s death metal. And again, fine for what it is. Like it was certainly tasteful is the wrong word to be ever associated with death metal, but again, it wasn't something that was going to really shock me in any way. Like that is the sort of thing I'm like, oh, that was nice. That was nice. A little bit of doom elements, a little bit of that Black Sabbath touch. Like that was fun. It was fine. Like I wouldn't complain about that. I'd see that live. But again, I wouldn't. It's seeing it live, but also realizing I could get in the pit for that. I wouldn't even need to wear earplugs for that. That was very easy. Very likable. No problems there at all. Yeah, mammoths are no longer extinct with that. Mammoths are quite easily, they have not been grinded. All right, next one up here. We got some club tracks. This is from, I need to get his name here. Hold on a moment. All right, this is from Ben Gamari. Excuse me. Project's called Collapsing Time. And it's a bit of Ben Gamari featuring Daisy Bell. The song's called Inside Melody. It looks like we got a bit of a club vibe here. We got a little bit of electronic music. I'm getting a wide range of what's being tagged here, so I'm not going to rely on the tags at all. Let's give it a shot. Oh. Little house, I'd say. A little more rollick there. It gives me a bit of a disco vibe, like there a little bit. Yeah, 92, 93 for sure. Let's take that back. I'd say more like 95. Like this would have been a throwback in 95.
Come close to me, show me your inside melody.
That guitar rollick works for me. It does. Very muted percussion on this. I'm not sure I like how the melodies have evolved here, though. A bit of funk to it. Ooh, the guitars are the highlight here. Yeah, the guitar, that guitarist is doing a lot, but it's what's keeping me most compelled here. I'm kind of with you there, Cacophony. I don't think the vocals do a lot for this. All right, that was Inside Melody from Ben Gamori featuring Daisy Bell from the album Collapsing Time. Reading a little bit more interesting things here. Ben Gamori apparently is kind of one of those acts within electronic music that other bigger electronic acts know. Apparently Disclosure is a fan of this guy. I kind of get that, honestly, given that he's got a very tasteful kind of throwback sound. I think the guitar work on this is really good. In terms of that added little subtle disco rollick, but also doing a little bit more complexity, a little bit jazzy in touches. I feel like that kind of elevates the entire track because I don't think the groove and some of the keyboard work is that interesting. And again, I don't think the vocals really add a lot, especially if the vocals were doing more lyrically, I might be more compelled by it, but just kind of sat back on it. The guitars were good enough for me to call that good. But I feel like there needed to be that added step that we didn't quite hear. Enjoyable, for sure. Certainly something I would go back to when it comes to club tracks, but again, it needed that added little bit of oomph to put it over the top. All right, next up here. All right, High Octane. Okay, so this is from Tutara Peak. The album's called By Yourself Boy. The genre is described as indie electronica. A little bit of alternative twist here. The song is called Telescope. Not sure what to expect with this one. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Let it build. Okay. Let's settle into it. Oh, no. Oh, it's not Tame Impala, it's worse. Someone needs to tell this person we don't need anything more close to Dominic Fike. We don't need any more Rex Orange County imitators. Also, that may be too kind to Rex Orange County. This would have been big in like the first few months of 2020. Like, I know what playlist this goes on. Also, I kind of hate the percussion. Actually, I hate all of this mix in the back half. This is not good. Oh, that's how you're ending it. Okay. Oh, jeez. All right. That was By Yourself Boy from Tutara Peak. The song's called Telescope. That wasn't any good. I'll be blunt. Like, that is built for a playlist that occurs in the latter half of 2019, the beginning of 2020, and precisely nowhere else. I felt that very underwhelming. I felt like the groove didn't really go anywhere. I thought the vocals were very wispy, very ephemeral. I felt like the song just kind of floated on its vibe, tried to coast off a bit of a vague Tame Impala, Dominic Fike association that, no. We don't need any more access only they could open for Love. Yeah, like, and the abrupt stop did not help it either. That's the sort of song that needed to fade if you wanted to sell that sort of vibe. I thought the percussion especially was very poorly mic'd. Like, it felt very blocky, a little loud for its own taste, but again, like, no, I didn't care for that. And again, that's the sort of thing, like, it's very winsome, it's very wholesome, I guess, but at the same time, it wasn't very special. Like, that's not something that, I don't think the hook really materialized there for it either. Yeah, and again, the mix was not good, especially in that final crescendo at the very end. Yeah, can't recommend that at all. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, we got some art pop, cooling with the stress of lockdown. Okay, lockdown's been over for a while, but all right, the song is called Near. This is from Joe Adhemar. He's from the UK. The song is called Two Magpie Day. All right, you know what? If it's like kind of like alternative art pop, that could be interesting. Let's give it a shot. That is not the vocals I was expecting.
Dopamine, theremin, fevers, and all the brainwashes from Shanghai. The sky, it beats the way it feeds the other, cause they got from a place down south. And when their lips and fingertips are...
These are rougher vocals than the last song, but they're a lot more charming. Did Richard Dawson do the vocals, I think?
Love's vain, it's time to blame, it's 1934. Hide under your duvet and maybe burn me both your door. Late stage, it comes the rage, it's 1934. I've seen all the dry hump and something with your flag that's upside down. Scooping out your eyes with a rusty spoon, sad sacrilege to the crown. Why don't you try conscription? Let the work of fiction reveal itself. They're pulling down the access to this trickle down of the well. Are you really blind, son? Open up your eyes, man. Inflation rampant, pop another Ambien. It's a wig, wham, whack, wham, wrapped up in the palm of hammer, gammon, boys having fun.
Okay then.
Lock up all your flaunters, licking all the jauntier coursers of evil Knievel, with just a weevil digging away at the beams.
Only a UK singer-songwriter could have gotten away with some of this.
Love's vain, it's time to blame, it's 1934. Hide under your duvet and maybe burn me both your door. Late stage, it comes the rage, it's 1934.
I kind of love the solo here. This is winning me over. And it's gonna fade out. I don't have a dude man here reminding me what to do. That's funny. All right, that was apparently apologies there. It is one of those cases where what is advertised as the promo song on the whole situation here is not in alignment with what we get that's actually being pushed. The song is called 1934. This is from Joe Adamar from the album Two Magpie Day. I kind of liked that. That was fun. A couple things I really like. Again, the vibe I kind of got was a little bit of like late 2000s commercial core. A little bit of that brand of indie rock is a little smoky. It's got that rougher percussion. There was a little bit more ramshackle. The vocals were certainly a little rough. It kind of reminded me a bit of Richard Dawson. I heard some Arctic Monkeys comparisons. I hear it. I don't agree fully because Arctic Monkeys have a little bit more ornate orchestration. This is clearly rougher around the edges, and I kind of like that a little more. I almost hear a bit of a Tom Waits influence there as well. Yeah, Dan Auerbach isn't bad either. I can hear some of that. That's closer to the right era, I think. Lyrics were interesting. Certainly very Depression era lyrics in terms of trying to contemplate on inequality of wealth. This would have been 1 year after the New Deal, if I remember the New Deal was 33. But this is also a UK-based act, so it was kind of interesting. Again, there was charm to that. I'm not sure the individual song really pulled me in or would really go above and beyond from there, but that was kind of interesting. Like, that's the sort of song I like hearing on Bandcamp. I'm like, it's something that made me go, I'm like, okay, didn't dislike it. Very interesting to see where it would go. Yeah, and the vocals did feel rough on purpose. I would also say the vocals had a quality where the multi-tracking was just a little too close to feel precise, and I kind of think that worked for the song. It felt a little bit more ramshackle. Yeah, I dug that. That was nice. All right, let's keep going here. I'm going to quickly interact with some things. Yeah, I don't need them telling me I made changes. Okay, I've read and understood it. All right. Okay, let's say we got an EP here. Wait a minute, that's not what I'm... Okay, these are... All right, so it looks like this is one of those cases where they threw songs on the list that we wouldn't otherwise be going here. I'm going to skip the experimental record with the spoken word. This is from Glosser from the Angel Dust EP. It looks like it's a pop song, some big banging electro pop. Could be fun. Let's give it a shot.
Angel dust on our skin, black-eyed, hypnotized. The way you talking, cigarettes and pills. You told me you'd done it all, and you'd done it all. Everything you thought was true isn't, and everyone's out to get you. So eyes down on the dollar bill. You're so in love with the view. Heaven's right here.
Just as like Tovlo is a good comparison. I hear that. Vocals are a little raw. It's a little bit more minimalist. Also the lyrical content when you get into it.
Just for yourself, cut you in if you got cash.
Okay, good house switch up. This feels dated. This would have been a thing in 2016.
Every wretched morning,
Maybe 2017 too.
sleepless night.
Mid 2010s.
Got some new shit for us to try. Yeah, there's some moments
Nah, I don't hear Phoebe at all.
never
This is not Phoebe Bridgers.
lost in the darkness. 'Cause everything you thought was true isn't, and everyone's out to get you. So eyes down on the dollar bill.
Okay.
So in love with the
It's pleasant, but again, it feels very derivative.
heavens right here.
It's because derivative. I'm gonna bounce to it. Yeah. Halsey was more earnest than this. I hear it vocally, but like, Halsey was also more shrill too. It's the right era for sure. Excuse me.
I got nothing to show, just diamonds that dissolve. I got nothing to show, just diamonds that dissolve. Heavens right here between you and me, cut up in the perfect portions.
Oh. Another song that can't really pull off that abrupt ending, that was Angel Dust from Glosser, the title track of that EP. You know what? Okay. Here's the thing with that particular track. I don't think it's bad. I think it is very dated. It feels very much like something that would have come out in 2016. Tove Lo is a good comparison. I hear the Halsey comparison. I don't think it's accurate. Halsey would never be as candid as this act is talking about drugs. That's why the Tove Lo comparison really makes a lot of sense, especially the slightly more raw vocals. I think that the vibe of the song is just kind of tepid. Like, it feels like the groove is there. I kind of liked the groove. I like to switch up into the more of the house vibe, but I'm also like, yeah, it's doing it, but it's not really impressing me with it. I'm not sure there's much of a super striking hook to really anchor it effectively. It was fine. It was certainly pleasant. Like, I've been around the girls who would do enough cocaine to appreciate that song 10 years ago. But again, like, that's not where I'm at. I'm not sure that's where the rest of music is right now either. So yeah, it's a pop song. It's not a bad pop song, but it's just pop. Doesn't really do much for me. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. Like, I think it's good for that. It's effective for what it's trying to do. I wish it could do a little bit more beyond that to make it a little stick out a little bit more. You definitely get the impression of what Tove Lo did that actually punched above this weight class. Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of people would have heard. Yeah, a lot of people would have heard this. This is not uncommon in this lane. All right, let's skip over the next one here. We got some more electronic music coming up. Cosmic, it's being described as. This is from Ben Lucas Boyson. From the album's called Alta Ripa. Okay. The song is called Quasar. Definitely leaning into the spacey side tonight. Let's give it a shot. Apparently this is the more tech house, but we're going to take our time getting there. This song's pretty long. About 6 minutes. Space. It's going to be interesting when the drums come in. There we go. There's a chalky percussion there. It's pleasant. It's well mastered, I will give it that. Well, Cacophony, I know you like drone here, so this would make sense to be kind of in your vein, especially with how those textures elongate in the background. Ooh. Interesting change. It feels like it's trying to structure itself a little more. I'm not sure how that's the best. That is a very odd groove. The pattern here is very interesting. This is odd. This swerves in interesting ways. Scott, I'd normally be with you, but I have thoughts on this one. I love finding stuff that some people wind up loving, even if it's not my thing. And yeah, I agree, those new synths coming in are real nice. Oh, okay. I like that how this is ending. It didn't do a sudden stop. I like that. That's smart. All right, that was Quasar from the album Alta Ripa by Ben Lucas Boyson. That was shockingly good. Here's the thing. I'm not normally like I was initially kind of cool on it because again it was very stop and start. It was tough for a groove for that to really materialize. Kind of started in more of an ambient drone territory, which could be kind of a tough sell, especially when it felt as quasi atonal as it was. But where I think the song actually really impressed me was how the grooves developed, because it would change up softly and then do ever so slightly those little bits of stuttering. But once it also gave the space for the pattern to allow itself to really materialize. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if it dropped out, or if it was going to switch up, it would give a full 4 measures for that to really flesh out and to actually really establish that, and then switch up gradually again. It never felt like it was lacking anything in the composition. Now, texturally, you might argue that it was a little dry, a little chilly overall. I could certainly hear that, but I think conceptually, in terms of the actual progression of the song, I think it was really well composed. That's where I'm going to give that track a lot of praise. That was really well put together, especially for that brand of tech house. The more I talk it up, the more I like that. That was very well done. Yeah, and not probably the stuff I would normally go back to, but I like that a lot. Yeah, kind of jerky, but once guy going, oh man, yeah, not far removed from the recent like floating points record. Yeah, I need to get that floating points record. That is on my schedule. Somebody like it was added to my schedule. I really want to get to that before the end of the year because I could use some really good electronic music. I also need to get to that new Spunk Shine album, which again, the problem is that album's an hour and a half. I just need to get to it. You think the dryness accented the percussion? I would agree with that. I feel like the percussion was not super sharp, and the dryness kind of drew attention to it without like really super like making it a concentrated point. It never drew away from the melody. And given how restrained the melody was, that played effectively into it. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I need to get to that Floating Points album. All right, next up we got Horse Girl. The album is called Phonetics On and On. Chicago band. We've got a bit of a jangly. I get the impression this is going to be indie rock. The song is 2468. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that's indie rock, all right. I don't know about those, the way the strings are coming in. Okay, vocals come in now. Oh, there we go. Oh, I like this way too much. Oh, shit. Oh, this got way better. Shit. It's 90s, but I'd also say like this could have come out in 2010 and would have gone off. I know what every indie film this gets featured in. Actually, not even like an indie film. This would show up in like the background of like Community, or like a certain like sitcom in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. deadpan though. But now, like, season 3. This is like season 1 Community. All right, that was 2468 by Horse Girl from the album Phonetics On and On. That was fun. I wouldn't say it was super striking. Again, as I was describing the sound, it's very late 2000s, early 2010s, especially given how jangly it is. I think the lead melody is nice behind some of the sawing strings. I feel like it was a little oddly tuned at points. I feel like once the hook stabilized, I was really on board with it. How that deadpan kind of fit with the quasi-nonsense vocals. I mean, like, that kind of works for that style. But again, I grew up in it and may have a trace of nostalgia for that style. I can admit that about myself. I wouldn't say it was wowing. Like, I feel like it was missing the transition to go for a real hook to go over the top. I feel like it's a very good simmer and without actually hitting a proper boil. But overall, it was fun. Like, again, I get what it was doing. I get the audience for it. I've heard the band Horse Girl before. I gotta feel like I'm more familiar. I haven't quickly checked this. How old is this band? Maybe this band's been around for a while. I'm wrong. Okay, the band has only been on Bandcamp since like late 2019, which kind of makes sense given the name. But at the same time, like, it very much plays to a certain sound and certain era that I get why it shows up here. All right, let's keep moving. All right, you got some off-kilter pop electronica. All right, this is gonna be interesting. This is from Cyan Savoy by Maria Terevera. Tereva, I think it's Tereva. I don't recognize the pronunciation. Apparently, she is from France. Okay, good to know. The song is called "What Is to Be Done." What is to be done? I really don't know. Let's hear it. Certainly sounds French. Oh, this is very French. Okay, interesting. The beat kind of paused there. It's kind of out of groove, and then it just kind of like. All right, that's a change up. Not sure it's a good one either. ways I don't really care for. Okay. That was What Is to Be Done from Cyan Savoy by Maria Tareva. Gotta be honest, I didn't really care for that one. It felt like whenever there was a groove that was kind of stabilizing, that felt very fidgety, metallic, it would just drop out. I feel like the transitions in that song were really sloppily done. I feel like there was a song. It was a song that had the aspersions to having more grace to it, but never executed effectively. It was off kilter. Yeah, they're not lying about that, but at the same time, it's off kilter in a way that isn't all that compelling. Because it was one of those cases where when you got the individual pieces of the tracks, I didn't think the melodies were that striking. I didn't think the grooves of the percussion texture was super interesting. Like it felt very muted and fidgety and kind of doing its own little thing. I get why it would work, but I don't know. I feel like it was missing a moment that really stuck out for me, or a really potent climax point. It felt very fidgety, and it's going to do its own space. Oh, then we're just going to drop out and switch into a different space entirely. Then maybe gradually build up, and then give it up again. Like it. I mean, I get the incredulousness of the title now. I guess it kind of makes sense for what it's trying to do, but it's not something I would return to. I'll say that. All right, let's keep moving here. Next up from Tanaya Harper from the album They Have Become Me. We got some more pop here. A little bit more of a pop night here tonight. Okay. Alt pop and shoegaze with honeyed vocals. Okay. The song is called Cleo. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter song. Let's give it a shot.
I still hear you in my dreams, telling me I'm not enough, no.
Not really full shoegaze though.
I still hear you when I list, expected seeing all the same down to stuff.
It's pretty. I hear where you're coming from, Sammy. I think there's something else going on though. You know what this kind of gives reminds me of? Okay, that was Cleo by Tayana Harper from the album They Have Become Me. The vibe I'm getting from that is a little bit of Wolf Alice, especially given some of the washed out, kind of smoky textures behind her. But that's not fully it now, is it? It's got a bit of a shoegaze vibe. Excuse me. But I think it's the feel with this sort of shoegaze that it's very much. It's got so much of a pop presence in terms of the melodic construction that never lets any of the textures fully breathe. On the one hand, not a bad thing because it's catchy. I think there's a lot going on within that song that's worthwhile like focusing on. Like I think that the overall melody is pretty good. I think the performance of the actual presentation is decent. But at the same time, it's also the sort of track that feels like if you're not into the pop flourishes being added into a genre that can be very not pop, like it's kind of dream pop in a way, but it never settles itself. You never get a fully composed vibe there. The song is really evolving quickly. A lot of the tempo is faster. That synth is a little bit more abrasive near the front. Again, Coldplay is the wrong comparison. I get where you're coming from. I wouldn't say that's quite right. It was interesting. And it certainly had ideas in terms of where it was going. Like, I think the song is arguably more interesting than it can credibly sell. I think conceptually, once you get a handle on what it's doing, it's melodically pleasing, but I'm not sure there's much more beneath the surface. But again, it was interesting. I would go back to that. I feel like again, that's an album that intrigues me. If there was more like that in terms of that pop fusion with that gauzy background track, I could be into that a lot. I'll have to see. All right, next up. Okay, this is from Carl Onejud. Onebuje. Carl Onebuje. The album is called Okayu, and the song is called New Policy. Okay, I'm not sure what this is. I'm imagining it's kind of like this the vibe. Okay, we're dealing with some experimental jazzy hip hop from the UK. This could be interesting. I don't know what we're expecting. The song is going to go for about 7 minutes, so we'll have plenty of time to explore it. Let's give it a shot. Got the jazz already. We might not get much jazz tonight, but I hear some of it in the piano line. I wouldn't say ragtime. Like ragtime, you get normally more in the upper keys about that. The piano is trying to anchor where everything else is going around it. Ooh. All right, there's a change up. Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's nice. I like that a lot. Ooh, that's good. Piano line shifted into the bass. This is improvised. Ah, there was some. I definitely hear that improv to it. I don't mind the jazz switch-ups here, but I feel like they're not always integrated as well as they could be. This has the improvisational feel that's a lot rougher around the edges in its transitions. I don't think I love the repetitiveness in that, and carried in the main melody line. Carrying in the bass is better. Ooh! Oh, I like that. That's really nice. I'm excited to talk about this song. I got a lot to say. I already created all my NPCs for my campaign right now, so I'm good. It's not a jazz, it's not a rant at all. I have thoughts on this. Ooh. That was from Carl Onebuje from the album Yokayu, and the song is called New Policy. That was really interesting. And it's a sort of composition I feel like deserves a proper inspection of specific elements. Because initially I wasn't into it. Initially with that the piano line was very repetitive. You could tell that the bass and the guitar and the drums were trying to play off of it, try to get a little bit more improvisational, and they centered it in that repeating piano loop, which I don't think was very good. But then you had to switch up to those very strident major key chords in the piano, and I'm like, oh, That sounds phenomenal. I loved that. And you could tell that the primary repetitive loop shift over to the bass line. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get what you're doing. Makes sense. You're trying to carry that repetitive element all the way through. The problem is I'm not sure it works as well in the piano as it did in the bass. And that's kind of because, like, I feel like when you have the more distinctive melodic flourishes, they pop a little better coming off the piano than they do coming off of the bass or some of the other instrumentation in the mix. I feel like it's a sort of song that had a lot of really good melodic ideas, but wasn't always best suited to place them effectively. When they did, the song was beautiful, legit, great jazzy stuff. Like the improvisational elements, maybe that's the factor as to why they didn't place it all the way effectively. But at the same time, the improvisational moments where it did work were some of the best I've heard all night. Easily. Some of those piano moments were striking, really impressive. Like again, it was sounded phenomenal. The master and mixing of the song was great. I feel like there's elements of the composition that could have worked a little bit better, but I can imagine that is a sort of jazz that's gonna work for the right people. Yeah, that was really impressive. I I feel like a song that gives me that many thoughts throughout a 7-minute runtime. I'm like, oh, I like what you're doing there. Oh, I really like what you're doing there. That doesn't quite work, but allows me to encapsulate it within this specific moment. That's a credit to the song. That was legit great. That was legit. You know what? Maybe enough moments were great. I'm going to call that great, but I'm also going to say that it could have been better, which is kind of rare to say about that sort of jazz, but that was impressive. Yeah, 7-minute song. And it didn't feel like 7 minutes either. Like it felt like it was elongated in moments, but it changed up well enough. It was well paced. It was well produced. Like, yeah, it was really good. I really like that. Cool stuff. Yeah, that was cool. I'm sticking by that. I really thought that was cool. Okay. All right. Time to get on some ambient bullshit here, folks. From Glassbird. Okay, so this is from the album Fenscapes. The song is called Timberline. You got some ambient vibes here, folks. Let's give it a listen. Oh, I'm sorry. My background is nowhere near appropriate here. I need to make sure this is appropriate. No, that's not it right here. Oh, this one. That's better. I like little bits of field recordings in the background here. Make you feel it, but it's not obtrusive. Nice touches of strings. I like those as well. This is a brand of ambient I like, but again, I can see why some might not be wowed by this. I also feel like I got the colors right. Ease this back, make that a little more of that. Blue. There we go. Got it. The piano oscillations are really pleasant because they're like, I don't know though. I think this is missing a moment to really put it over the top for me when it comes to ambient. I feel like it's extremely pleasant, but I feel like it's kind of, there's a bit of a holding pattern. On some of it is going somewhere. I hear what it's doing. The arrangement's getting more lush. Or it was. I feel like it's kind of faded out. Alright, that was Timberline from Glassbird from the album Fenscapes. For now, with the title of Fenscapes, you'd think that would do a little bit more. For ambient music, it's all right. I had high hopes for that. I like the field recordings. I like the lush elements of the sound. It was very relaxing. It allowed you to pull yourself into the space. I liked how the horns elongated themselves across the mix. And I do appreciate how the arrangement fleshed itself out, added more organic elements as the song progressed. But the problem is that it didn't really progress melodically. Like the production expanded, but it kind of had that one repeating motif and it didn't really go off of it. So it was okay, I guess, but again, as much as I would love to be on my ambient nonsense, that's one that could have done a little bit more. It wasn't bad by any means. It was good, but it should have been great. I will stand by that. It should have been great. All right, let's keep moving. All right, we got to get something a little bit more song focused. Might be a little bit easier for folks to engage with it. This is a soul song from Ella Thompson. The album is called Ripple on the Wing. The song is called One More Step. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that certainly sounds like soul. Yep. You gotta appreciate some 60s soul up in here. It is pretty. Horn's doing a lot of heavy lifting on this song, I think. Alright, that was One More Step by Ella Thompson from the album Ripple on the Wing. Very 60s soul song. Definitely a throwback. Interesting thing that it's from a white girl from Australia, and that's the timbre she's chosen to play. But when you think back to 60s soul, in specific blue-eyed soul, like, it's not surprising. There is a tradition of this. And I think she was good. I think the horns were doing a lot of heavy lifting there. I thought that was pretty nice. I thought it was very prim, very well composed. It wasn't going to get as raw as like Aretha or any of the other soul singers that come out of the 60s that I tend to prefer, but it was pretty. It was generally pleasant. I think melodically it was well composed. I think the production, it felt vintage without being a deliberate throwback. Her vocal lines did have a bit of more of a modern poise to them, which I will give her credit for that. Wouldn't be much I would go back to per se, because again, I tend to like my soul with a little bit more like vigor to it. But yeah, it was pretty. It was nice. Not gonna wow me, but it was good. I think that's fine. Yeah. It reminded me of Say Grace. Listen, you know what? I hear some of that, but Say Grace never had the vocal control and chops that Ella Thompson does. Like when I hear Ella Thompson has a poise and a comfort in a pocket that Say Grace was way too modern to really pull off. Like I can hear some of that, not the same though. Like there's a difference between someone who is trying to affect soul and someone who gets soul. And even if it's not my brand of soul music, I think that Ella Thompson gets it a little better, or at least graced with production that flatters her a little better. I'll say that. All right, next up. Okay, we got some hip hop. About time. All right, this is from we got some West Coast rapper. This is a guy called Thurs. The project's called Yannick, Kofi, and Time. Song's called Trust Issue. Holy shoot, it's got Snoop Dogg on it. All right, the song's called Trust Issues. It's featuring Snoop Dogg. All right, we got a vibe here coming. Let's go.
Who a nigga trust? Me. That's who. Me. That's who. Me. That's who. Who a nigga love? Me. That's who. Me. That's so me, not you. You ain't my mama, you ain't my auntie. Oh, my granny, nigga. You ain't no relative, no kin to me. To keep it real, you ain't far from my enemy. Wait, how you get up here in the first place? Standing next to niggas that's in first place. LBC, that's my birthplace. Same place, you can be a cold case. Another 24, first 48. And if you know me, then you know I ain't no product of no imitation. Product of affiliation, leader of the new school. Thanks for your consideration. Who gave you a pass? I don't see no fucking invitation. If these walls could talk, they free all my dogs. Owned and groomed, bitch, don't touch my paws. If it ain't no money involved, then hold all my cars. It's double or nothing if D go double G involved. The money growing on me, say she on her way. These niggas ass trays don't hold no weight. 9 figures in your mouth, baby.
Snoop tried way harder than he had to on that.
Running red lights for the heat check. My trigger finger itching, that's a reflex. Classic click, time that I release shit. East side of the beach, niggas seasick. Same song, name strong, hang on, game on, came home, chain on, shame on a nigga for tryna bang on. Man, fuck a hating ass nigga. Yeah, same fees, same trees, gang green, double D's on her knees, hands free. Show these niggas how to do it properly, debauchery, mockery. Who a nigga
oh my god!
That's so me. That's so
Snoop, what are you doing?
That's so who a nigga love me. That's so me. That's so me. Not you. What the fuck you thought this was? Bitch, you wish you was the plug. Got my cousin, that's my blood. It's all handshakes, it's all love. Where the fuck did y'all come from? Wait, I don't even care. My niggas is over here, so keep that bullshit over there. When you pledge your allegiance.
Oh my God.
Kill your own damn kind of. Just so you can live decent. Are you a kind
Jesus, Snoop.
Nah, put that on Jesus. Tell me, nigga, what's your reason? What the fuck do you believe in? If they believe in sitting on fences, I don't trust it. And if the mind attached to the coaching is for the streets, I can't touch it. Self-preservation, the first law of nature. Second law is silence, gotta tiptoe to the paper. Dodging widows, Matthew Marks and flukes. Who got the worldwide trying to fly? How might do?
He's trying, but he can't keep up. Sorry.
If I ain't on no politics about my economics, talking Fetty, Fiat, Gouda, however you call it, electric slide through back streets with a wallet.
I feel bad, honestly. We're gonna talk about this later.
Reparations started with the basics. World is a diamond and I'm trying to run bases. Trying to make it home by any means, no cases. Red and blue lights flash off to the races. Whole city pageless, summertime crazy. Self-made cause a rule of 4,080. Reason and circle.
He's good.
Hopping out the whip. Protection is priority. I do not plan the shit. Not even musical chairs, but I step a little bit. I ain't one for cloud chasing on the net. See the murder on live, they doing reps. Easy call to depend on me, it's a bet. Cause if it ain't me, then
who a nigga trust? Me. That's so me. That's so me. That's so who a nigga love? Me. That's so me. That's so me. Not you.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. That was Thurs with the song Trust Issues, featuring Snoop Dogg from the album Yannick Kofi in Time. God, I feel bad for that dude. I'm sorry. But, okay. It's not that he's a bad rapper. I first off identify how this happened. The dude's from Inglewood, so I guess there's that connection with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is in touch enough with his community to grant, quite frankly, one of the best verses I've heard from him in years. Where the hell did that come from? We could play this on the timeline and oh, hey, here's a Snoop Dogg verse. I don't even know if he remembers doing it, but it goes hard as hell. Yeah. It's the legendary song. Again, I feel bad for the guy because Snoop just runs away with the song. He sounds engaged. He sounds on point. He's got bottomless charisma. And he's just yeah, I'm just going to take on the song first and do the hook and do a verse or two. And it's run away. I'm okay. I feel bad for the rapper. But the thing is, if you're a rapper in this situation, what the hell are you supposed to do? Because you get that from Snoop Dogg, are you not going to put it on your album? You kind of have to. Snoop ran away with it, but it's also goddamn amazing. Snoop Dogg sounded amazing there. It's the sort of thing I'm oh yeah, that's why people love Snoop Dogg. That's why when he cares, he can just come out of the way with that. Yeah, again, that was a great hook, a great verse. That was insane. That's the sort of thing you don't hear. I bet if we went to the timeline right now and people highlight this song, nobody would have heard of this. And the fact that Snoop Dogg just did that on somebody who he must have local buzz that we don't understand. Anyone from Inglewood, California here can point to this guy and say, is this guy a thing? Because if he is, I would get it. Actually, pause. Hang on. I'm going to look this up. I got to see if this guy's a thing. I have to. Thurs. Okay. Oh, dear God. Okay. So, I just found Thurs on YouTube. He's got 194 subscribers. This has to be a favor that they called in and that someone knew someone who knew Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg's yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. Okay. I feel bad for the guy because if you get that from Snoop Dogg, what are you supposed to do? You're I'm gonna put it on my album because it sounds amazing, but it also completely overshadows your presence. Like, that's a no-win scenario for an up-and-coming rapper if I've ever heard it. Like, that's tough. Now, granted, it sets the expectation of whatever Snoop is going to do on that upcoming collab project with Dre could be in that lane. I'd love for it to be in that lane. God, can it be in that lane? That'd be amazing. But, yeah, like, that, but it's weird here because it's Snoop Dogg. And Snoop is so rarely delivering his A game. And the thing with Snoop is that he can turn it off and just be kind of chill and give you 8 bars that's going to sound good but not great. That was great. That was legit. Like, I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say there. That's going to kind of make my night because I'm like, that was awesome, but not for the reasons that it should be. And I feel bad for the guy. I legit do, because like, that's the sort of thing that happens and you're like, well, oh crap. I don't know how you go back to the rest. What else is on this album? Hang on. Sorry, guys. I have to take a look at this. Snoop is the name on this album. I'm not recognizing anyone else who is here. Jeez. That is... I feel bad. I feel bad because that is like, you get the feature of a lifetime and the feature chooses to do that and overshadows everything else you do. That is the worst possible thing that I can imagine. Ugh, I feel bad. Jeez. That is tough. And that's a nice Snoop Dogg. Yeah. But who predicts that? Who predicts Snoop Dogg to show up on a random Bandcamp song and go the hell off? Nobody predicts that. Ugh. Yeah. All right. That was fun. We got a few more songs to keep going through, even though I'm still kind of flabbergasted with that. My God. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this is from Peggy Lee and Cole Schmidt, a cellist and multi-instrumentalist. We got some improvised jams. Album's called Forever Stories of Moving Parties. Okay, could be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to top what we just got here, but the song is called Blame. It's going to go... Excuse me, it's going to go for about 6 minutes. Let's give it a shot. Yeah. Honestly, improvised jazz a little. This isn't really doing much. Very mellow. Not complaining about good cello though. That's very, very restrained. Yeah, it's not bad by any means. It's very understated. Not super loud either, which I don't mind. The horns are very pleasant too. Being like semi-improvisational, that's actually pretty impressive how well this is flowing. Two, three, 1, Those horns are nice. I like those horns. I like those a lot. Woo! Woo! Yeah, there's some vibes. The vibes, y'all. When this settled into its lane, it really kicked up. I like this. Yeah, the strings are really good. Wow. That was Blame from Peggy Lee and Cole Schmidt from the album Forever Stories of Moving Parties. You know what? And in terms of an improvisational jazz piece that we need to calm down after whatever the hell just happened beforehand, that was nice. I like that. I think the horns really went off in the midsection, but it feels like this is a sort of song that kind of struggled to, like, it stabilized on two good ideas. It never really figured out how to effectively transition or modulate between the two of them. The guitar line and the horns in the midsection were phenomenal. But how it kind of stabilized in something that was a little bit stiffer, quasi-marching band, as some of you have described in the comments. For the final section, I didn't love that. And I also feel like the song kind of took a while to get going, to fully like stabilize into what it was trying to do. Yeah, it was all right. I wouldn't say I was wowed by it, but again, for an improvisational track, I appreciate, you can very clearly tell where the improvisation stuck and where they found the locus point in order to latch onto and then expand from there. But I also feel like it could have done a little more, could have expanded a little bit more effectively, and the transitions were overall. Not bad, though. I certainly think there was a lot there that I liked. All right, got some rock and roll coming up next. All right, this is from the Breaks. We got an Australian six-piece making rock and roll music, good old-fashioned rock and roll. This album is called Big Rock, in case you weren't aware, and the song's called Stranger. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that sounds like rock. I'm going to get some Bob Seger out of this. There's 70s, yeah. Little Thin Lizzy here too. Oh yeah, Nash would love this. See, the funny thing is, Nick, I think the keyboards work because they're seedy in the right way. Because this is a seedy song. Because it's a little 90s in how it plays out. Like, it's not as strident as you would normally hear in the 70s. Like, this is very 90s in terms of the vocal delivery and kind of how tentative it is. A little Neil. This is 90s Neil Young-esque a little bit. Doesn't have the rawness of it, but it's got some of that timbre. Very bluesy. This could have been a hit in 94, 95. I agree with you, Scott. This is a song for cheap beer and brown liquor. Why I'm drinking water. A little Credence, I hear that, especially with the keyboards. You know what? That was pretty nice. That was pretty nice. That was Stranger by The Breaks from the album Big Rock. And again, we kind of went through a lot of it when we were talking in song as it was going, but that was pleasant. Very 70s, with a little bit of splash of 90s. Like, it's got a little bit of that slightly ragged vocal delivery that felt more 90s. But again, the keyboards definitely felt very CCR. Little Bob Seger in terms of the bass line, in terms of how it overall progressed. Wasn't quite as rollicking or rootsy as like Heartland rock, but like it would fit in that lane. Feel a little seedier around the edges, but I like that. That's kind of what you wanted for that brand of blues. Then again, this would have killed in the 90s. Very 90s inflected track. I see why it works. Like, I don't mind that at all. I don't think Dylan is the right comparison. Because Dylan was a more literate writer. This wasn't especially literate at all, if I'm being real. I made the Thin Lizzy comparison for a reason. But yeah, that was fun. It was fun. It wasn't deep, but it was fun. Yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing more from the Breaks. If they stick around or they go any further, that was cool. That was neat. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, let's keep moving for one I can recognize here. All right, this is a 9-minute acid techno song. I'm gonna skip that because I don't want to listen to 9 minutes of acid techno. We got some R&B and soul here next. This is from Homer from Insatina. I'm seeing comparisons made to Solange, Adele, and Clairo. The song's called Deep Sea, featuring Heather. Interesting. Let's give it a shot. I'm not hearing the Clairo comparison. trumpet's okay.
Praise me, praise me. Deep sea, deep sea. Drown me, drown me. Deep sea, deep sea.
It's gonna be interesting talking about what the song actually is, because I did a little bit of reading on this guy, so it's interesting. I hear some of the 21 comparison, but I'm not sure I fully agree with it. A little too tasteful. You guys are gonna be shocked when I tell you who this is.
Into your green eyes. Set the
Okay. Did the stream get cut? Oh, please don't tell me the stream got cut. I'm not hearing anyone responding here. Okay. Ruined it. Oh, hang on. No, it's here. Oh, hang on. Are we here? Just confirm this here. I'm here. Folks are here. Hello? All right. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me? All right. Okay, that was weird. All right. The cut at the end there just kind of threw me a little bit. Yeah, I didn't have much of an outro. Okay. Jeez. Yeah, the audio skipped. It wasn't like, that scared the hell out of me. All right. That scared me a little bit. All right. That was Homer from the album Insatina with the song Deep Sea featuring Heather. All right. So song cut off. Thank God. It looked weird on my end. Apologies for that. So here's a little context. This guy is actually more well known if you actually go into the back album credits. This is Homer Steinway's. And, excuse me. And you would recognize this guy if you go into album credits because he's a session drummer. And he's worked with a lot of pretty impressive people. He worked with Solange. He worked with Clairo. He's worked with Adele. He worked with the Jonas Brothers. He's worked with Bruno Mars and Silk Sonic. This is a guy who's been around for a while in terms of what he's played on. Now he's stepping up to the front in order to put out his own project. And I don't want to be mean. It has the feel of a session guy who doesn't really have the same breadth of ideas as the folks that he's working for. I feel like the vocals were really underwhelming there. I don't think the drumming was particularly impressive. The horns were nice, but overall it was okay. It was okay. Again, that brand of soul feels very dated to a specific time. And yeah, it just didn't do a lot. Yeah, it's all right. Again, I wasn't wowed by it, but it is what it is. Yeah, again, thank you all for sticking around. That sort of stutter in the stream tends to scare me a little bit because I'm like, did the stream drop? Did we drop early? And We didn't, thank God for that. But again, the aesthetics were very, yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought I had stopped that before the outro, and yeah, no, it didn't feel like there was a lot there in the outro there. Yeah, I just was not impressed with the song at all. All right, next track here. Another drummer's project. Oh dear, what is it with this day here? Oh my gosh, yeah. They all right. We are close to the 3 hour mark, so the scare makes sense. Yeah, exactly. I would agree with that. All right, next up we got from School of X, Seventh Heaven. He's a Danish drummer. The song is called "I Want to Dive in the Seven Seas." It's actually reasonably short here. Let's give this a shot. Kind of ironic we're just talking about.
Fast cars, snow falls on a blue sky. Not a teardrop falling from my eyes. White horse, never pause. Not a teardrop falling from my eyes. This is the last day for a long that I'm moving on.
A little washed out, yeah.
This is the last day for a long that I'm moving on. I wanna dive in the seven seas and walk the line. I won't be looking back again. Moonshot, I lied. I wanna dive. I wanna dive. Dreaming about
Oddly enough, the vibe I'm getting is a little 21 Pilots. Funnily enough,
my
the vocal timbre, the focus on percussion.
teardrop falling from my eyes. This is the last day for a long that I'm moving on. This is the last day for a long that I'm moving on. I wanna dive in the seven seas and walk the line. I won't be looking back again. Moonshot, I lied. I wanna dive.
Ew. Ooh. Well, that guitar is a choice. Ooh.
I wanna dive in the seven seas and walk the line. I won't be looking back again. Moonshot, I lied. I wanna dive.
That string section is really nice, yeah. Slightly more. I hear that. Okay, that song's from School of X from the album Seventh Heaven. The song's called "I Want to Dive in the Seven Seas." Not bad per se. I felt like it wasn't. Again, there was a flourish there that felt. Again, it kind of reminded me vocally a bit of 21 Pilots, especially given the cadence of how the percussion came through. I also hear a little bit more elegant elements where they had the strings that kind of ran up behind it. It was all right. It kind of stopped rather abruptly. I'm not going to lie. I feel like there was a bridge that could have really fleshed that song out. Yeah. Again, a choice was how I feel like there were choices that were made with that song that could have been more effective. It was fine per se, but I wasn't wowed by it. Again, it's one of those cases where I'm like, all right, I kind of see what you're doing, but like it felt a little stodgy at points. It felt a little bit too prim for its own good. Yeah, not sure about that one. Interesting. I will say it was interesting. It was doing a little bit more than I expected, but it was interesting. All right. Next album here is an Angel Olsen covers project. We're skipping over covers projects, even though again, Angel Olsen not going to complain. Would not normally complain, but we're going to run late. We got a couple long songs coming. Hey, look, More improvisational music is coming up right next. More experimental music. This is from Moth Bucket from the album Vigari Suite. I don't know what this is going to be like. The song's called Glint. It's not that long, though, so let's give this a shot. Huh. Oh, I don't. Oh. Hmm. The thing is, with improvisational acts, you kind of expect weirdness, and the problem is we've been spoiled with a lot of really good improvisational music in this session, so I'm gonna wind up being nicer to this than some of y'all think I will be. All right, that was Glint from Moth Bucket from the album Vigary Suite. I didn't hate that. I'll be honest, I did not hate that. It was kind of weird. Like, it was the sort of weird that is very much of like, kind of a little too quirky for its own good. It never stabilized well, but pieces of it were well mic'd. I appreciated how well the bass came through. I think the drum line was kind of sporadic, but it kind of worked. And yeah, the horns were honking and very obviously staccato in that environment. I'm not sure that's the best form for them, but like it wasn't bad. It felt very avant-garde. Like, I felt it could be the backdrop to a very specific moment. But honestly, on its own, it was like, once kind of like clued into how, okay, this is what you're gonna do. Like, okay, I don't hate it. It's weird, but I don't hate it. Like, I feel like it was doing exactly what it was designed to do, and it's gonna throw a lot of people. But I did not dislike that. I wouldn't go back to it. I'll be candid here. I don't love it by any means, but it's like, okay, all right. You're going to honk and do your own little thing in your own little space, and you're going to tumble over your instruments. And I'm like, yeah, all right. For a certain audience, that is going to do their thing. It's not really for me, but like, I'm like, okay. I see people saying that it sounds like it's warming up. I wouldn't say that. Like, it felt a little bit more composed than that, but it also shows the difference between those who are improvisational and who can understand how transitions function versus that, which I don't think the transitions were well handled at all. But all right, we're down to we only got a few more left here because there's some we're not going to play. Like we're not going to play a 47-minute song that's going to kill the stream. But here's one. We got an EP. This is from Joshua Idahan. Mum does the washing. Okay. All right. It's spoken word. Spoken word tends to be hit or miss, but the spoken word song is called Could Be Forever. Let's give it a shot. Need to get the lights up. Hang on.
Hold the elevator for the older. I live 3 floors up, he's one over. First order of business. How's the niece, sir? How's the missus? It's hard on the bends, my lad, but it still go the distance. Nobody tells you true love comes with a cost. My darling has the wanderlust. Itchy feet, but her head's gone soft. Goes for a little wonder, gets lost. Phones on standby, but will she remember to call? She saw her eldest daughter. Her face she couldn't recall. The leaves fell harder that autumn. But every so often she returns, her face alight with a smile. She takes my hand, she says I might be gone for a while. Where will you go? I ask her. When will you come back?
Any moment now,
She takes my hands and holds them warm.
maybe tomorrow,
She pulls me in and holds me close.
be forever, yeah.
How long we stay like that, who knows?
Be forever, yeah.
How long we stay like that, who knows? Always show love to the elders, whether they're your parents, aunts or toilet attendants. Last one in particular, we met sometime one cold December.
Okay.
In Nanny's corner, where he laid out his wares, colognes, chopper chops and Trojans if you dare. He's from my hometown, Benin City. And over there, my man's a dentist, but here in London, got no papers to make root paper. And ends meet meeting. Every hour I give some cheer. All I get is cold pity, sneers and jeers, but that's okay. Cause in my mind, skies are clear. I'm holding hands of all my daughters. New school uniform looking gorgeous. Some drunk at random asks, are you going back? My eldest asks, when am I coming home?
Any moment now, maybe tomorrow, could be forever, yeah. Could be forever, yeah. Any moment now,
She takes my hands and holds them warm.
maybe tomorrow,
She pulls me in and holds me close.
be forever, yeah.
How long we stay like that, who knows? How long we stay like that, who knows?
Huh.
Could be
I love that punch in. All right, that was Could Be Forever by Joshua Iden from Mum Does the Washing EP. You know what? There was parts of that I really liked. I think thematically what it was doing was pretty nice in terms of it's trying to set up a question that runs through the entire song of what does it mean to stay in a place? What does it mean to place yourself in that moment where there's going to be those who will question what it is for you to be in that space? And there is a discomfort there that you can see prodding at certain elements, and and the intangibility of where he questions time is relevant there. I think it's nice in terms of that. It's very UK in that regards, and I definitely see the cultural connection that he's trying to draw forth there. That said, the song fell a little. I see why they described it as spoken word instead of hip hop, because I don't think the flow was super elegant. I don't think it flowed as well as he thinks it may have. I think the strings were really pretty. I think some of the chalky percussion in terms of how it evolved was not bad, but I don't know. I feel like I wanted to like that a lot more. Yeah, it bordered a little on slam poetry. I've heard much, much worse slam poetry than that. That was fine though. Like it was certainly very listenable. But again, I feel like there was an element of that I feel like it was close to is missing like 2 or 3 more very pithy lines to put it over the top, and I don't think it fully got there where it is. The poetry was good, but not great. I will stand by that. All right, next song here. Okay, this is from Winter McQuinn and Acacia Pip from the album Recently I've Been Missing the Color Green, so I will have to make sure to change my background to the color green. And the song is called Working on Me. All right, that's pleasant enough. Let's give this a shot. Oh, we got some country folk up in here.
I've been working on not saying sorry after every sentence that I speak, breaking habits that don't serve me. I've been working on me. I've been working on not measuring my sense of worth by other people's metrics. I've been trying to follow my own instincts, back myself up, fill my own cup. I'm never gonna learn if I don't make mistakes, never gonna succeed if I don't take a break. Don't wanna hear about your 10-year plan. I'm just doing what I can.
I got a comparison that comes to mind immediately for this.
I've been finding the mood to swinging harder, like a rope swing over the river.
The funny thing is, Sammy, you're not wrong. Courtney Barnett is immediately where I went as well, especially the collaboration with Kurt Vile.
Nothing lasts forever. I'm never gonna learn if I don't make mistakes, never gonna succeed if I don't take a break. Don't wanna hear about your 10-year plan. I'm just doing what I can. I'm never gonna learn if I don't make mistakes, never gonna succeed if I don't take a break. Don't wanna hear about your 10-year plan. I'm just doing what I can.
Oh, that guitar line is really nice. That was Working on Me by Winter McQuinn and Acacia Pip from the album Recently I've Been Missing the Color Green. And okay, honestly, I liked that a little bit more than I thought I would. I think that melodically, in terms of the song structure, in terms of that sort of psychedelic quasi-folk pop, especially coming out of Australia, it feels very familiar for what it is. That being said, I think, again, the comparison I'm going to make here is Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile, that collab album they made. I don't think that album has kind of been largely forgotten, but I think there's elements of it that do kind of work. And this put me in that vein in terms of if the song structure was a little bit more effective, it would fit in that sort of vibe. They kind of had that same sort of vocal energy between them. Now, granted, I think Acacia has a little bit more vigor to her voice in comparison with Courtney Barnett. And Kurt Vile, I think, has a little bit more charisma in terms of his presence. But overall, it wasn't bad. It was like the lead melody behind it, especially the guitars, was pleasant. And the camaraderie that they showed across the song, that was fine. I'm not going to say it was like amazing in that lane, but like I could imagine that doing for that audience that liked that album, liking this as well. I can see there's some crossover. That's all I'll say. All right, let's keep moving here. All right. we got some off-kilter psychedelic techno. Actually, that's 8 minutes long, and I'm limited on time, and I'm not going to do that one. Okay. All right. This is a song called Sweater Aesthetic. Okay, so psychedelic folk from John Greska. It looks like it's just a standalone single, so no album here. Let's see what we got here.
I come in many colors, I come in many styles. I come around the fall when all the leaves come down in piles.
Oh, this is twee.
I don't
This is
need
very
no
twee.
protection, that's what you say to me. And still I get so afraid concealing you from week to week. I come in many sizes, I come in different threads.
Not gonna lie, I
When
really
winter
don't care for
starts
this at all.
and parts of you get lost in dread. You know you're thankful for me, even though I'm a chore. You tried once to go without me, but you won't do that anymore. But then the summer starts again, and you don't need me, then just hide me away.
Nope, don't care for this at all.
Zip me up and pull on my strings, hide all the dirty little things you want me to. They don't know, but I do.
Yeah, no, I don't care for this.
Lumberjack beards and tie-dye shirts, but underneath it all is a monster lurking silently. They don't know what I see.
Yeah, I know what certain types of twee I like. This is not it. That's not at all.
The leaves start growing back and you are more comfortable with letting sun come in. It hits your skin and head and all. You're starting to get warmer. I loved the times we had, but nothing lasts forever. For your future I am glad. And then the summer starts again, and you don't need me, then just hide me away. Zip me up and pull on my strings, hide all the dirty little things you want me to.
Oh, I'm not.
They don't know,
Okay.
but I do. Lumberjack beards and tie-dye shirts, but underneath it all is a monster lurking silently. They don't
Right.
know what I see. Think of me.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Is folks still here? I know. Like, I feel like the stream may have been interrupted there. Hopefully, it's not. That's from John Greska, the song "Sweater Aesthetic." Yeah, it certainly was something. Yeah. Here's the thing. It faded out like that. It didn't normally fade out like that. That's me checking my everything else going on. So audio kind of popped for a little bit. Yeah. All right. Okay. So it's not failed with that. Like, it didn't kill everything. I did see some of that. We're all good. Okay. Thank God. All right. Yeah. Didn't care for that at all. Not nearly at all. Yeah, there was some popping, only affected the song, not me. I understand that. That tends to happen whenever I check another window and they acknowledge that. Like, and I just wanted to make sure that the stream was still active because, again, I saw the chat disconnect and I'm like, oh shoot, did we lose everything? I don't think we did. I think we're good. But yeah, that was okay. I don't want to come down too hard on that song because it's a charity single. It's in to raise money for the Trevor Project. I'm not against that by any means. If that's your thing, please go support. But for lack of better words, if you want to support the Trevor Project, do it through other mechanisms than that song. Because, like, I did not care for that at all. Like, writing from the perspective of a sweater with those tones and that vocal message and those melodic timbres behind it, it's twee to an almost sickening degree, and it just bounced off me in a really ugly way. If that's your thing, go ahead. I understand that if it's your thing, have fun, but I really did not care for that at all. I felt that was just really ugh. Yeah. Again, like I struggle with certain types of twee music as it is, but that did not connect at all. All right, let's keep moving. We only have 3 songs left, from what I can tell, which will be good. Let's see if we can get through this. I kind of have doubts. One of them is jazz. All right, this is from a UK artist, from Sholto. Song's called "Letting Go Forever" from the album of the same title. Let's give it a shot. Changing my backing here. Yeah, groove is all right. Kind of spacey. I'm not sure if I love how the guitars are coming in there. If the chimes felt more intentional, I'd like them a little more. I agree with that. And then the horns start coming in a little bit more. I definitely feel the jazzier side. Certainly it's got some groove to it. I'm not going to deny that. Huh. I'm not sure that vocal embellishment did what it needed to do there. Oh, great. Chat keeps dying. That's not a good sign. All right. Yeah, okay. All right. That was Sholto, the title track of Letting Go of Forever. Yeah, again, there's no interruptions on your side. Looks like folks are staying in here. I don't know what's going on here. YouTube's been a little bit finicky tonight, but again, if everyone's sticking around, I do appreciate that. We got 2 more songs left. That see, here's the thing: the horns were nice, and some of the groove was good, but all the tinkles kind of felt less intentional than they needed to be to really accent anything within that groove. And the second the vocals started flooding in, I'm just like, felt a little overworked for its own good, and that did kind of lose me a little more. Not a bad song per se, but kind of fidgety. Not really what I was hoping for. I will say that. All right, 2 songs left. Last song here, we got some punk rock up in here. Okay, I'm down for that. Punk rock. This is from Kava. The album's called Power Trip. The song is Crashing. Only a couple minutes. Let's get to it.
So insane, my head's on fire. No more tears, no more desire. Brain is crushing, road is ending. Pain is crushing, never ending. So many bad situations, often bad, you name it. My hands are tired, brain cells are wired.
Ooh, okay, we got a groove here.
And I'm glad it all just happens once. And I'm glad it all just happens
A
once.
little bit of an art punk vibe here. I like this.
And I'm glad it all just happens once.
You carry my boxes, I carry the pain. You carry my boxes, I carry the shame. You carry my boxes, I carry the pain. Carry my boxes, I feel that same.
Metric isn't the vibe I'm getting. This is definitely like early Riot Girl music.
Your language so unclear. Your words so insincere. Your language so unclear. Your words so insincere. Let you down, even look at me. Don't even talk to me. Don't even look at me. Don't even
Like early Sleater Kinney. I hear some of that. That was Crashing from Kava from the album Power Trip. That was fun. Again, very Riot Girl, a little Sleater Kinney early. I feel like the vocals, I feel like the entire song kind of lacked a little bit of an edge in the guitar work. I feel like it was definitely punk in that variety, but it felt a little softer around certain parts of it. I kind of wish it had a little bit more sinuous, like crushing groove to it that would have really put it over the top. I think the vocals were effective though. I think it was effective in its lane for what it was trying to do. Again, everyone's saying punky Metric. Y'all need to go listen to Metric's like first 2 albums because Metric was punk, like very definitively before they went into like the dance punk, synth punk direction. Like they had that lane and they had it locked down. And those were honestly underrated albums if you know that scene. You probably haven't heard those albums. They didn't really cross over outside of Canada, but yeah, legit good. Yeah, a little bit more bite. And yeah, he was saying Sleater Kinney when they were good. Well, you don't need to remind me that Little Rope happened. That makes me very sad because that album was bad and that breaks my heart a little. Okay, one last song here. Apparently it's gonna be a bit more of a pop song. Sparkly art pop from Arminda K. The album's called Time and a Feeling. The song's called Wrong Way. If we get through this, we finish the stream without interruptions, even though it feels like it feels like it's been interrupted more because of the chat dying out and like various other interruptions, but let's pray we get through this. Let's see what we happen. All right, song is called Wrong Way. Let's give it a shot. Interesting woodwinds there.
I'm only conscious of when I'm going the wrong way. I'm only conscious of when I'm doing the wrong thing. Beep, 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 yeah. Beep, 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 yeah. Beep, 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 yeah. Only conscious
The woodwinds are cool on this.
of when I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm only conscious of when I'm going the wrong way. Do I get on the right path? How do I get on the right path?
A little post-punky in the group there. I hear that. Do I get on the right path? Yeah, I don't know about this one. Did not expect the song to come back. I thought it was going to fade out.
Beep, beep, yeah. Beep, 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 yeah.
Okay, that was Wrong Way by Arminda Kay from the album Time and a Feeling. Again, it did feel like a bit of a sudden switch up. I'm not sure about the song structure of that, but it was pleasant. Like the woodwind section behind it, alongside the stiffer patter of the groove was kind of. It felt very 80s of a specific variety in a specific type of like early to mid 80s post punk that leaned off of the synths and actually prioritized this. You go back into that time, you actually find a surprising amount of that when they wanted to get away from the synths and something that was so icy and go for something that's a little bit more organic and fleshed out like that. The Cure did some of that in like the mid 80s. And you know what? It wasn't. And again, like she definitely was. There was a playful side to it. You could tell there was a deflective side to her vocals and her vocal line. It was kind of charming, not gonna lie, but I don't know. It felt like there was a lot of willful deflection, and I feel like it didn't really make a point as strongly as it could have. And that final switch up after I thought it was going to end after the fade out. I'm not sure that final segment coming back around really paid off the way it should have. But overall, yeah, it was all right. Not going to complain. And that was our episode of Bandwidth. Thank you all so much for sticking around this long. Again, we've been here for a little over 3 hours. I really appreciate that. Again, the fact that we didn't get killed is kind of startling. I've already seen the fact that this stream is already in flight for copyright so many times. So we'll make sure I'll get all that resolved in the back end. No worries there. But again, we did make it to the end. I appreciate all of you sticking around. That was indeed pretty fun. We found the Snoop Dogg verse of the year from out of nowhere. That was certainly a surprise. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. Once again, if any of y'all want to help support the channel, link to my, link to YouTube memberships and Patreon. It's always available. Don't feel obligated. Tough times, I understand. But the option's available. But again, till then, I'm Mark. You're watching Bandwidth. And hope to see you next Thursday.